What is up, everybody? This is All Things Entertaining here, bringing you the Monday video. But before we actually get into that, I want to take the time to thank you guys. We are actually currently at 123 subscribers. I'm actually really excited for all that stuff. You guys are, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to liking, commenting, and I guess even subscribing. One of you actually corrected me on one of my videos, and I actually do appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not immune to criticism or mistakes, so if you find something that I made a mistake on, just let me know in the comments or something like that, and I will definitely get into it and try to fix it as much as I can. So yeah, but anyway, we got Ryhan Jabri's first place YCS Utrecht Salamangreat deck profile. So we're just going to jump right into it because we have quite a spicy list and y'all are crazy. So let's just go right into it. So first thing, we got 2 Nibiru, 2 Fantastical, 2 Salamangreat Jaguar, 2 Lady Debug, 1 Salamangreat Falco, 1 Salamangreat Gazelle, 3 Flame Bufferlo, Salamangreat Flame Bufferlo, 2 Salamangreat Spinny, 2 Salamangreat Foxy, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 Prohibit Snake, and 3 DD Crow. Now, something that might actually stick out to you guys pretty much immediately is this card. What is this card? No one has ever seen this card ever. Well, this card is out of Fist of the Gadgets, and this is why I say y'all are crazy. Because as of recording this video, and I was trying to see what was happening to this card because it was everywhere on the market when people were talking or as Utrecht was wrapping up, and it's completely gone. I'm actually going to refresh the page right now so you guys can see it's actually gone on TCG Player. Unless, oh no, there's some listings here. It's actually $2, but there's actually none on the market beforehand when I made this. So yeah, you guys are crazy. You guys are crazy, but it does make sense. This card's actually pretty good. For those of you who have never heard of this card before, because apparently I didn't hear about this card in Salamangreats before, but it is really cool. At the start of the damage step, if a Cyber Link monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Return that opponent's monster to the hand. While excuse me, when your Cyber monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, when this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one card from your graveyard, then target one level 4 or lower Cyberus monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect, each of this card's effect once per turn. So basically what you're going to be doing with this is you're going to be summoning your Sunlight Wolf, you're going to be summoning your Heatleo, you're going to be summoning your Transcode Talker or your Zeroboros here, and you're just going to be attempting to swing into your opponent's monster, and your opponent and your monster will basically have infinite attack, but instead of destroying it, it'll just send it back to the hand. It's definitely good for some for cards that you can't naturally out. For example, I don't think Spirals have a particularly easy time getting rid of Sleeper without destroying their entire board. So this is a good way to just bounce it back to your hand and not deal with it. It's a good way to out that card. It also has some synergy where you could just if you lose almost all of your access to set recycling Gazelle or recycling other cards, you can just use this card to do that. You could recycle your Flame Bufferlos or your Lady Debugs to get extra searches. You can recycle your Spinnies, you can recycle your Foxies and all that stuff to get extra advantage on top of them. So it's actually a really decent card, and it's kind of cool. So yeah, that's actually really interesting. 2 Lady Debug, kind of interesting, seeing the 2-3 ratio for the Lady Debug's Flame Bufferlo. I think Flame Bufferlo personally is better. You can definitely hand lock your opponent out with this card. Or not hand lock, chain block your opponent from using this card. It's definitely better than Lady Debug in my personal opinion, because if you open this card and this is like your only starter, you kind of just cry because, I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of fragile in that sense. So you're kind of just really gambling with Lady Debug as a card. It is really good. It's really nice to have it at 3. Don't knock that. I just think it's a little bit worse than Flame Bufferlo in the terms of its ratios and stuff like that. But we're seeing an interesting ratio of 2, 2, and 2 here. Not 3 Spinny, 3 Foxy, and 2 Jaguar. Maybe because it's a little bit more constraint it's a little bit more of a streamlined version of this deck. Perhaps is not as good as it used to be. perhaps you want to open up more of your hand traps or your cards that search you search throughout the rest of your deck, or draw cards. But it's definitely kind of an interesting outlook to take from this kind of a deck. It definitely worked out for him because he got first place, so I'm not really gonna complain the chef here for his food tasting great. So definitely interesting. Main deck into Nibiru. I think main deck into Nibiru in Salamangreats is definitely valid, considering the fact that you kind of just lose to a lot of really big negate boards. So this is just gonna come crushing on your opponent. And even if they kind of Appaloosa this, I think it's just fine. I think it's fine that way. It doesn't really make it that much of a difference. Fantastical is going to be played in Salamangreat until Salamangreat eventually die or get power cut. So, we're gonna be seeing this card in solids forever. DD Crow. DD Crow is good against other Salamangreat decks. It's also good against the majority of the meta right now as well. Same thing for Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's just insanely good forever. It's just not going to be a bad card ever. There might be formats where it's weaker, but definitely never bad. So on to the spells. We have 3 Pot of Desires, 3 Cynet Mining, 1 Salamangreat Circle, 2 Will of the Salamangreat, and 1 Salamangreat Sanctuary. So basically, this is actually the standard lineup before Gazelle went to 1. So you got your, and before Circle went to 1. So you'd play your 2 and your 1. You play your 1 Circle because you might as well play your 1 Circle. Will is just really good. Pot of Desires, really interesting card for consistency, but since you're not really quote unquote hinged or dependent on your Salamangreat cards to win you the game for the most part. I mean, you kind of are, but you're not. Banishing some of your Salamangreat cards isn't that big of a deal. Sure, banishing your Gazelle might be a little bit sad, but you have a lot of hand traps in here and a lot of fluff that can really take the heat off of that banishing top 10 from your deck. It's just really good. Pot of Greed is really good. Cynet Mining, I'm not going to explain why Cynet Mining is good. This card probably will go to 1 at some point because of the fact that it is a Rhoda of sorts, and Konami generally dislikes Rhoda cards like this that search a wide variety of a certain specific type. So we will have to wait and see on this. I'm not advocating for it to go to 1 now, but if Cybers ever take a dramatic spin, then we'll see this card go to 1. But yeah, on to the traps. We have 5 traps. We have 2 Rage, 1 Imperial Order, and 2 Roar. At first, when Gazelle was at its worst, or when Gazelle went to 1, I was actually really against the Salamangreat Roar, Salamangreat Roar at 2 and Rage at 2. Mainly because I thought that it was just going to hinder the consistency of the deck a little bit, but I guess it doesn't really now, because of the fact that Mirage Stallion is definitely not a card you can play at this point in time. But I was just against it for some reason. I don't know if it's that great in my personal opinion, but it got him. Like I said, I'm not going to question. It got him first place, so it is good. So Roar is definitely one of the best cards in the entire deck. It is just super good. I think Rage is a little bit better though, because Rage is it deals with multiple problems, whereas Roar is good in specific scenarios. Imperial Order, definitely interesting. You're not playing a lot of spells in this particular version of Salamangreat, so it does make sense why you just lump this card in here. It's good against a lot of the decks that are really spell dependent, like Spirals. So it does make sense why this card's in here. Next, we're going to move on to the extra deck. He's playing 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Topologic Zeroboros, 2 Salamangreat Heatleo, 1 Transcode Talker, 1 Update Jammer, 1 Hiita, the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 3 Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, 1 Security Dragon, 3 Salamangreat Balelynx, and 1 Linguriboh. Now, Linguriboh is actually interesting, and it kind of makes sense why you would play this in specifically Salamangreats, because first of all, it's easy to summon. It requires just a level 4 lower Cyberus monster. 2, it's really good against Altergeist. That's basically why this card's here. It's really good to stop Altergeist cards from activating their personal spoofings, their protocols, and other such good trap cards that they like to activate on you. It worked out very well. I think it's very good. Also, it's adding Mr. Effect doesn't really matter, so we're not going to talk about that. So, Balelynx, generally, you're going to be playing 3 of your wheelchair cat. Security Dragon is kind of interesting. If it's co-linked, you can target a monster your opponent controls and then return it to your hand. It's actually really good. So if you make this card first and then you make your Sunlight Wolf, you can just bounce the cards for free. Really good. It also synergizes well with like Balelynx and your Transcode Talker, your Update Jammer, and your Heatleo. You just play Heatleo underneath though, so it is really good. I think it's kind of one of the cooler additions in this deck. You're also playing the Update Chamber Transcode Talker package, which does OTK. I think Zeroboros is also pretty good. I actually don't remember exactly entirely what this card does. If another monster is special summoned to a zone that a link monster points to, while this card is on the field, banish all cards on the field. So it's really good. So it's really good. And Abyss Dweller, you can't really complain why Abyss Dweller is here. So it's standard in every single Salamangreat list ever. So we're going to move on to the side deck. We got one Nibiru to complement the two in the main deck. One Pankratops, because you can only play one, sadly. 3 Lightning Storm, 2 Mind Control, 2 Twin Twister, 3 Evenly Matched, because why would you not play Evenly Matched, and 3 Different Dimension Ground. So this is kind of interesting for a lot of reasons, because Different Dimension Ground is one of those kind of really interesting cards that kind of is on the fringe of being competitively viable, but never really makes it that far. But in this particular instance, I think in this particular meta, it works out very well, because if you're going to basically remove a lot of the cards on your opponent's board anyway, through like negates, your rages, and whatnot, this card is going to be very good for keeping those cards away from the graveyard. So it also synergizes pretty well with Lightning Storm. You just flip this card up and then you activate your Lightning Storm in tandem with it. It's a little slow that way, but it is one way you can deal with some pesky back row stuff, and never have to deal with it ever again, because I think Altergeist can recycle the back rows pretty efficiently. Basically making the turn into a macrocosmos is really good for a lot of reasons. So anyway, that is the deck list. Tell me what you guys think about this deck list in the comment section below. Also, this deck list will be in the link in the description, or will be in the description if you guys want to copy paste it to your Dueling Book or YGO Pro. Anyway, this has been All Things Entertaining, signing out.